You don't need a massive audience to scale your high ticket offer. You don't need ads, and you definitely don't need a funnel that is duct taped together from half-watched YouTube videos. And I understand the irony of me saying that in a YouTube video. Let me make this simple. I'm going to run you through the system that we implemented for one of my clients that took her from zero to over $22,000 a month in 90 days. So this is Rachel. She is the subject of this video. And prior to working with me, Rachel was the director of sales at her previous company, and she had helped them build an incredible sales system that helped them scale incredibly quickly. Largely as a result of her being able to bring in so many high ticket, really high value clients for the brand, they were acquired. So she stuck around for her golden handcuffs, and once that period was over, she decided she didn't want to just jump into another job. She wanted to wait for the right opportunity, but she also didn't want to just let her skills stagnate. You know, it's an industry that moves quickly, sales, especially in tech companies. She wanted to stay on top of her game, so she thought maybe some consulting would be the best next step. Problem is, she had no audience, no email list, and no proven offer. She reached out to me for some help, and we built a buyer-first system that within 90 days had her at $22,500 in monthly recurring revenue. This is what the ACCER model that I build all of my growth systems around can do for creators, consultants, and agencies who are tired of spinning their wheels and offering free lead magnets to get nothing good back. I'm going to run you through exactly how to implement that in this video. So here's what most people get wrong when they're trying to scale their business. They chase attention. They're looking for views, reach, virality, all of these things that feel good but don't necessarily contribute to revenue. They'll give away free PDFs and free lead magnets, and they're trying to please a social media algorithm that doesn't even really know what they sell because they've changed their messaging so much to appeal to what's going to get liked and shared rather than what's going to bring them serious buyers. And then, after a couple of months, they start to wonder why they're so exhausted and so broke. It's because freebie seekers do not buy. They collect information, then they ghost. They keep just checking to see how things are going, but they never really had an intention to spend money with you. And you need to switch your approach from trying to get attention to trying to attract people who have a high intent to buy from you. And when you're building for attention, these high intent people, these are not in your funnel. They're out there looking for someone who actually knows what they're doing and has a solution to the problem that they are facing right now. Most people are building content that appeals to this massive audience because they think they need to attract so many people into their business to actually get any sort of results. But when your content is built to pull in these people, there's so much noise. There's no real signals. It's all noise. Good luck filtering all of these people in here in the red out to find this small group of people in green who are looking ready, willing, and able to spend money right now. When you're fishing in this sea of freebie sea, you're going to burn out. And it's not because you're lazy. You burn out because the system is leaking energy and wasting your time and attracting the wrong kind of people who will never buy from you. Let me say this really straight. If you want more money, stop doing what doesn't work. By offering free lead magnets, you're not attracting people who will buy from you. You are attracting the wrong kind of audience, and they will never give you anything for your time, your effort, and your expertise. Imagine what would happen to your business if you only talked to serious buyers. No time wasters, no freebie seekers, only serious buyers. What if instead of warming up the crowd to try and get them to that point where they feel like maybe they might want to potentially spend money someday in the future, you just invite the people who are already ready right now? This is how smart operators scale. There's no flash, there's no funnel porn, it's just focus, value, and a system that earns its keep. I put a whole video together explaining how you can filter for the buyers, which you can find in the description below. But let me walk you through how we did this with Rachel to filter for the buyers and actually attract serious people who are willing to pay big bucks for your expertise. So let's look at how to scale a high ticket offer fast. The first thing that you should always be looking at is who is the ideal customer? Who is that buyer? If you don't have a buyer in mind, how can you build something that they are going to want to buy? A lot of people just think they can come out with these generic offers and somebody's going to pay for it. It doesn't work that way. You got to start with the buyer and then look at how you can solve a problem that they have. The more specific you can get with the buyer, the easier you'll find things. Here's a couple of the steps that I always run people through when we are building who their ideal buyer is. So the first thing is that you want to look at who is the person, right? And you want to be drilling this down into things like what's their role, what's their niche, what's their business. And then also you want to be doing this around whether they have the financial and authoritative means to hire you. And what I mean by this is, let's take ads as an example. You'll have a lot of people who will have offers like, I help businesses scale their ads. Okay, well, who in that business, what is the role of the person who's going to be targeted for this? What kind of businesses, what niche, right? Who's running Facebook ads? If you're helping them with Facebook ads, is it software companies? Is it coaches? Is it consultants? Is it weight loss companies? Is it B2B? Is it B2C? All of these things need to be taken into account because they will change the messaging and they will change the offer so that it appeals to different markets. If it feels like it's generic and it's not really appealing to anybody, who's going to buy it? You have to get specific. Next thing that you want to look at is who within that business has the means, both financial and authoritatively, to actually hire you. Again, people might say, okay, I'm going to help coaches and consultant businesses scale their Facebook ads and they're coaching in the weight loss space. Okay, already that's far more defined. Okay, we're going after coaches in the weight loss space who want to scale their business with Facebook ads. Already, we can now start to target the messaging for that specific group of people. But what a lot of people will then do is they'll start to build out the offer and make it appeal to somebody who's too junior in the business, or they'll target it at a business that can't afford their services. So we have to make sure that the people we're targeting have enough money to pay your high ticket fee, and also that the person that you're going to be attracting doesn't have to go and get 2-3 other people to approve that purchase of your services. So let's look at how we did this for Rachel, right? This first step, we basically targeted her offer towards the same role that she used to be at her prior company. Founders and sales directors at software tech startups who have raised Series A funding at least. This gave us everything that we needed, right? So we know that the issues that tech startups within the industries that she was going after, we knew the problems that they had. We knew that founders and sales directors had the authority to say, we should hire this consultant. We also then knew, because they have Series A, that they likely have the money to hire. Once that's done, that's your start of the offer. Next step. What is it that they want to achieve? What is the desire that they have? What do they want to be? What is the outcome of working with you? What is it that in their dream world they would have already? So most people get this very, very wrong, and they start to focus on the deliverables of the offer. We've got a course, we've got this, we've got that. That's not important. What does the course enable that person to do? What does your service and your expertise enable that person to do? The best way to think about this is a gym. Gyms don't market themselves and saying, we've got 22 treadmills. That might be a secondary thing that they tell you later on when you're like, oh, how busy does it get? But they draw people in, first of all, by saying, we'll help you lose this much weight. We'll help you gain this much muscle. That's the outcome people want. So you have to think, what is the ultimate outcome? If they could click their fingers or wave a magic wand and be in the perfect position that they want to be in, what does that look like? It's why you see so many offers like, here's how to make 10K a month. Here's how to scale to 6 figures a month, how to scale to 7 figures a month. That's what people are envisioning. They're like, oh, I wish I was making 7 figures a month. And so that's what draws them in, like, okay, now I'm interested. How do we do this? So what do they want? What's the outcome? We broke this down with Rachel, and the ideal outcome for her ideal customers was essentially more sales. How would we get there? More qualified leads, which would require more predictable pipeline. And there we have the beginnings of a good offer, right? We know who they are, the industry, we know what they want to achieve. That is already 10 steps ahead of 90% of the people that I work with when it comes to refining the offer. You want to get super clear on this, because if you're not clear, it's not going to sell. Now, already this is clearer, and already you're starting to build the desire for what you have, but then you need to understand what's the blockage. So why can't they get it? They're here. They want to be here. If they could have solved the problem and already achieved that level of success, they already would have. Something is stopping them from doing it, right? What is this blockage here that is stopping them from traveling the full distance? This could be many, many different things. It could be that they don't have the ability, the resources. It could be that they just don't have the clarity on how to do the thing. They don't have the system. There's many different things that are stopping people from doing things and achieving the outcome that they want. With weight loss, as we said before, the gym It could be that they don't have the equipment. They don't have the space in their house or their apartment to have all of the equipment that they need to pack on loads of muscle. It could be that they don't have the motivation, the know-how, many, many different things that could stop them from achieving their goal. So what is the blockage that's stopping them from transforming into who they want to become? In Rachel's case, it was that most of the brands that she spoke to had no system. It was complete chaos. They were just throwing out cold emails and hoping for the best. They didn't have a system that was replicable, scalable to bring in good leads at scale. Now, all of this has given you the basics for creating a really good offer. You know who it is, you know what they want, you know the problem that's stopping them from getting there. Very, very easy to then come up with a good sounding offer. I could say to you, you're watching my video, so I assume that you want to earn loads of money with online business, right? I could create an offer that says, here's how to make $100 million this year without doing the things that you don't want to do, without worrying about the big blockage, right? You might think that's great. Would you believe me? No. One of the key elements to big offers is to have some sort of system in place, because a system lends believability to what you're doing. It also, if you have a system, means that you can scale it because you can roll it out to more and more people. It's a story for a different day. But essentially, if I said to you, I'm going to help you make $100 million this year, you'd be like, okay, how? Let me tell you how. We have this system, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then you're like, oh, okay, hold on. Now I can actually see how this is working, how this might be potentially viable. So once you have all of this, you then want to look at the step-by-step system that you will need to implement in their business, or teach them to implement in their business to get that result. If they don't have the system, it's all just empty promises. And you're going to get found out real quick. You're going to get hit with loads of chargebacks and all of this sort of stuff. So you need a system in there to build belief, to get more sales, and also help them achieve the goal. Rachel had a really good system. It was a cold outreach system, but not only was it cold outreach, it was physical cold outreach, in the sense of they would send physical packages to people. And she had a really good system to find the right things to send to the right people at the right time, which would open conversations, which would then bring them in for the sales pitch. Okay. So that was what lent believability to the approach and the promises that she could make. Next thing you need to think about with the offer is, how is it going to be delivered? Now, generally, you can kind of bundle this down into, is it done for you? If we go back to the ads example, I'll just run your ads, right? I'll run your ads and you'll make an extra 20 grand a month through advertising in profit. Great. Done with you. I will coach you how to do this. And that could be done with you as coaching, consulting, advisory, community-based. This is just how the information and the training is delivered to the user. Do it yourself. Here's a course on how to run better ads. Generally speaking, you'll have lower costs here, higher costs here, in the sense of what you can charge the client. But having the delivery method mapped out is key. Some people will want it done for them. Some will want to be done with you. Some will want to just buy a course from you. Like I said, DIY will have a lower fee than done for you, because done for you will require much more of your time. It's less scalable. But generally, if you're going after big businesses, they don't want a course. They just want somebody to come in and handle it. So picking the right delivery method is really important, depending on who your audience is, which you should know from up here. You then essentially have everything that you need for the high ticket offer. You know who it's targeting very specifically, you know what they want to achieve, you know the problem that's stopping them getting there, you know the system that you will implement to help them achieve that goal, and you know how that system will be delivered to them. That's the core of the high ticket offer. The next thing that we did with Rachel was look at the pricing. Pricing is really important. If you get the wrong pricing, you're either going to turn people away because they're like, it's not worth it, or you're going to be working for peanuts and you're going to be absolutely killing yourself trying to get all of the work done because you're just not making enough profit. So pricing. My advice for pricing, if you're doing the high ticket offer, is go bigger than you think. Most people will go cheaper because like, oh, this will sell. Go bigger than you think. It kind of has to scare you a little bit, and it kind of has to hurt them a little bit. It should be a considered purchase, right? If you're bringing people in, that's a different story. You want something that's low cost, they don't even consider. But for the high ticket stuff, you want them to be invested in this. So it should be something where they're like, yeah, okay, this is a considered purchase. We think that this will help us get results. I'm putting enough money into this that I will also do a lot of work as well. Now you might be thinking, how do you actually come up with that? I always look to start off with a 10-to-1 ratio. Okay, so charge 10% of the value you create. This is very, very easy if you offer a business service, right? So if you are running ads for somebody, say, and you know that your ads are going to help them make 10K extra a month, and it's actually going to save them 5K in internal costs, which is $15,000. All you have to do is then say, right, so I'll do it for $1,500. Simple. Right, it's quite easy in that sense. And then you can start to play around with the pricing, but essentially you want to start off with a 10-to-1 ratio. Depending on the numbers and the actual monetary value of this, you can go up. You can start looking at like a 2-to-1 ratio at the very, very top end. But essentially, you want to make sure that they're getting more value than they're paying you. You might think, why? Nobody's going to pay you $100 to get $100 back. It's pointless. But if you said to me, every dollar you spend with me, I will give you $2 back, you wouldn't be able to stop me. I would keep feeding you dollars. So you need to make sure that they are getting more value back than they're paying for. And starting with a 10-to-1 ratio is quite an easy way to really just test the waters. And then you can start playing with pricing to find the optimal price point. With Rachel, we found that a lot of the deals that she brought in for a past client were $75,000 plus per year for that business. We said, right, how many of these leads can you bring these businesses every month that they could close on a 75K plus deal? She said at least one. So at the very minimum, if we went with a 10-to-1, she would bring them the equivalent of 75 grand per month. Of course, it would take them 6 months to close the deal, but she would bring them enough qualified leads to have the equivalent of a 75K sale every single month. So we priced it at $7,500. Really simple. So all of that can be combined into a really powerful offer for Rachel that is priced at $7,500 per month. And it's a great deal for the client because they're getting 10x that value back. But you can't just go in and say, hey, pay me $7,500, right? That's not how scaling high ticket works. Nobody is going to pay a stranger that much money. I don't care how good at your job you are, unless you are Alex Hormozy and have that kind of a reputation. Getting somebody from cold to pay you that money is very, very difficult. It would be difficult to get somebody to pay $7,500 one time, let alone $7,500 per month. So how do you build people towards that high ticket offer? Well, you quite simply use a simple filter that we build to identify serious buyers and build trust. Okay. So if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I like to use $1 products. $1 products, usually I actually launch these at a single dollar. And the idea is somebody who will pay you a single dollar is 12 to 56 times more likely to pay you again than somebody who's come in through a free lead magnet. The $1 product itself is not there to make money. It is a filter for serious people who are looking for a solution and are willing to put their money down to get expertise and help to implement that solution. Now, I will say the actual $1 pricing is very elastic. You could go from $1 all the way up to like $100 and maybe even higher if you're going after really big businesses. It has to be in line with what other people are offering, but it also has to be something that is low enough in price that your target market will think, you know what, we'll give this a try. It's worth a shot because we might learn something good. And if it's not very good, we've not really lost anything. So you have to play around with that pricing to figure out what would be the right thing. With Rachel going after those large businesses, we decided that a $100 offer would be the good thing to filter the serious from the time wasters. And what we wanted to do with these filters, what you always have to do is you have to build them in a way where the $1 product is directly related to your high ticket offer. If it is not related to your high ticket offer, then there's no point in getting people to buy it because there is no natural progression from the low ticket offer to the high ticket offer. They have to be directly related. With Rachel, what we did was we did a very simple high level analysis of the system that she'd used to help scale her prior company. And we decided to deliver it as a live workshop where she would be there, she would do a Q&A, she would run you through how the system worked, the results that it generated, and what you would need to set it up yourself in your business. Massive value given away for $100. Now, this filter is so important, and I see so many people not doing this. They offer free lead magnets, they offer the same thing, and they'll just do it as a free video on YouTube and all of these kind of things. That all has its place, but then they wonder why these people are not buying. This $1 filter, whether it's $1 or $100, right? It is a filter for serious people. And what it will do is it will increase the engagement of anybody who buys it, which will increase the consumption of your marketing material and your messaging, which will increase trust. Now, I always tell people that whenever you're trying to sell something, there is something I call the yes ladder. Most people are doing a free lead magnet, and this is their high ticket offer, and they expect that to build enough trust to get up to here. The problem is, if you get something for free, how much do you value that information? Not really, which means that you don't engage with it, which means that you don't consume it and start to understand the principles. You don't have that shift in your belief that that person's system is really good. So how are you meant to do that jump? Whereas if you charge even a single dollar here instead, and this is the product, then what we build is a system here that is the belief builder. People will then, if they pay even a single dollar, they will engage with and consume that initial product, which builds trust in you. It builds your perceived expertise in their eyes because they've now started to consume your content, see that you're good at what you do, and start to believe that your system might be the solution to the problem that they've had all along. You then back that up with a belief building system where you talk about the results that it's generated, how it works, all of this sort of stuff, and you drip feed that to them. And then you have the next step, which is, why don't you book a call or whatever the sales mechanism is for your high ticket offer? And by this point, they're kind of pre-sold on you helping them and getting them to do that thing with them. It's really that simple. And that's really what we did with Rachel. This $1 filter was just that first step, with her stuff. Some people, they watched this and they said, thank you very much. And they were off and they were going to try and implement it on their own. They got this new system for $100 that they were going to try and implement. That's fine. They were never going to hire her anyway. So she got paid to give them something that would be useful, but they'll remember her as a useful, helpful person. There were people, though, who look at this and they say, wow, you know what? She really seems to know her stuff. We need that kind of help. Let's get in touch. So basically, with this workshop that we did here, the last 10 minutes of it were her saying, hey, thanks so much. Really appreciate you taking all the time. We've done the Q&A. If you'd be interested in learning more about how this might be implemented in your business, I've opened up a couple of slots on my calendar for free consultations. We'll jump on for an hour. We'll walk through how this could be implemented in your business, and we'll go through it, what steps you would need to take, and the results that it could generate for you. It's free because you've paid for this workshop. You then have everything that you need to get people in and build the trust. The next thing is just the promotion, right? How do you actually get people into this thing? Rachel didn't have a big audience. She had under 200 people on her Substack and a social audience on LinkedIn that she hadn't really been active on. And if you're active on LinkedIn, you know that the algorithm doesn't like you coming back and trying to then quickly get loads of reach. So what we did was very simple. We were just like, right, we just need to get a handful of people in to validate this as a $100 offer. So we did simple LinkedIn content that was related to the end high ticket offer, because then it means it's related to the front end $1 product. We got her friends to engage with that content to try and boost it in terms of the algorithm. It loves engagement. Get those people to go like and comment and share and all of that kind of stuff. And then we use the spearfishing strategy, which is something I go through in the video, which is in the description. Spearfishing is essentially writing high-value posts on social media and communities. Anybody who likes or comments, you then DM them and try and segue that into a sales conversation through a natural conversation. So we did that, and we also sent several emails to her Substack audience. Those emails were simple promos of the workshop. Hey, you like my stuff. Workshop's coming up. Don't miss your spot. Limited seats. All of the good stuff that you all know about. Just to try and get as many people as possible into that workshop. So let's have a look at the actual statistics. Now, I want you to temper your expectations here. A lot of people will go, and we had like 600 people turn up to this. And it makes you think, well, if I can't generate 600 people, how am I ever going to make any money from this? Like I said, Rachel had a small audience. Her social platforms hadn't really been warmed up in a while, so she wasn't going to get great reach. But still, we managed to grow it to over 20K months. You don't need quantity, you need quality. And that's what we focused on. So 12 people bought the workshop, and actually, that's $1,200 on its own. So for an hour of her time, plus the time to prepare it, so maybe 2 or 3 hours, she got paid $1,200. Really not bad. From those 12 people, 5 of them booked a call with her. Now, these calls are consultation calls, but they're also a way to demonstrate more value and expertise. And if you're a fit to help them, at the end, you can pitch your services. Out of those 5 calls, 2 people said, yeah, let me go and get approval and we'll bring you on and you can help us implement this kind of stuff and advise our team. $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue just from that. Now, one of those people that she did a call with wasn't a fit, but they knew somebody who might be. So Rachel sent that new person the workshop via the introduction, and then also booked a call with them, and they closed for another $7,500 per month. $22,500 in monthly recurring revenue. The whole thing took us 3 months roughly to set up, and it could have been done much faster. Probably could have been done in 6 weeks. Unfortunately, she was moving house and moving state at the same time. It was a big move, so that kind of delayed everything. But she also then had this system set up, right? She then has a paid workshop on the front end to filter the freebie seekers from the buyers. She then has the system and the emails that then promote a call after the fact. People who watch the workshop, hey, why don't you book a call? Get all of this stuff over here. That could be set into an evergreen system that brings her good buyers every single day and upsells them to a high ticket offer on autopilot. Because then all that she would have to do is basically promote the front end. It's very, very scalable. In time, if she did want to scale this, she could have scaled it and then got a closer in to actually manage the sales calls for her so that she just helps and does the work. But essentially, here's the punchline of this. Most of us, we're all done yelling into the void, offering free value and getting nothing back. We're tired of marketing to people who will never, ever buy, but want to collect everything that we do because they think maybe one day in the future it'll be nice to have. This is a better way to do things. You don't need another funnel. You need this kind of a system that filters for serious buyers and gives them a clear path to your high ticket offer. If you want help setting that up, I would recommend you watch the video that's in the description below. It will walk you through the whole process of filtering for buyers. Watch it and then decide if you want to keep playing the volume game and attracting all of these people who are noisy but give you no signals on how to actually grow revenue, or you want to start building something that compounds and actually brings paying customers every single day, where you get 5 to 10% of them who will then upgrade to your high ticket offer. You don't need more leads. You just need better leads. If you've got any questions, drop them below. I'll tell you what's broken.